JM in the AM. Tu B'Av morning at America's one and only Jewish Moments in the Morning radio program. Heard on listeners sponsored WFMU East Orange, WMFU Mount Hope. Rockland County at 91.9 on the FM dial. Around the world on the web, jmnam.org. And that's one of the reasons we played Mehera, because today's Tu B'Av. Miriam L. Wallach is here. She's been producing our radio shows from Israel and leading the Nachum Segal Network. And I say good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Do you see how mellow I am, how calm I am?
You are so chilled, I barely recognize you.
Because of these environs, isn't it beautiful? Isn't it incredible?
It's nice how you gave me no props for your being totally chilled. Just want to make sure that's clear. I evidently bring no sense of calm.
It has to do with the environment that I'm in right now, that beautiful blue sky.
We really should move here. If this is what you'd be like every morning.
The incredible old city of Jerusalem.
Yeah, this is pretty great.
Looking around.
Nice new office you built me here.
Seeing this incredible sight.
Yeah.
It really is remarkable.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough to be in Jersey City Wednesday morning.
Yeah, that's true. So we've had quite a journey so far. We've gone to some interesting places.
This has been a remarkable trip.
People have already reacted over the weekend about the radio show from Sderot that took place on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We were there during a red alert.
Yes. The only person who didn't duck in the room? You.
And you'd think I would have had to have done more ducking than anybody else.
A little bit, but there was a show going on.
Exactly.
That's
the show
it.
must go on.
Right.
Thank God.
Rockets, no rockets.
Because unfortunately there were some people that, had a really rough Friday because of what was going on in Sderot. Thank God we weren't hit, but there's something about being in that whole experience and seeing what people go through on a regular basis. Thank God, and I hope that it's still holding when the radio show is actually on the air 4 hours from now. But thank God, as we record here at the Inbal Hotel on Monday morning, there's a ceasefire in effect. They, in fact, did cease to fire. This was not one of those cases where Israel ceased and they fired.
Right. This wasn't one of those Lucy and Charlie Brown moments.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
You've reduced the war to a...
I don't know about that, but it's a metaphor for people who understand the Peanuts column.
And hopefully it'll hold, and hopefully things will be peaceful here, and hopefully even with the peace and calm that we anticipate and pray for, hopefully the Israel Defense Forces and the IAF will be able to do what needs to be done in order to curtail the activities of the enemy. That's what we pray for, and we pray for it every day. Some people thought that I was a drop over the top when it came to my discussion about North American Jews and their attitude toward traveling to Israel right now.
Who felt that way?
A few people felt.
No way.
A few people felt I was a little too harsh.
No way.
That I took the liberty to express myself in a very free-flowing manner.
It's your show, boss.
and look, I mean, the bottom line is that when you have a certain passion, a certain position, a certain feeling, a certain attitude, it's difficult to adjust otherwise. And I felt, based on our investigation here, and it's not like we're these
investigative reporters.
Right, we're not investigative reporters, just based on casual conversation.
Correct.
With hoteliers and storekeepers and cab drivers and others affected by the tourism industry, one of the only industries that we can have a direct effect on because we're from North America. Right. They were pretty disappointed, and beyond that, I think they were pretty angry. They were pretty angry that not only did North American Jews stay away and cancel trips like they've done many times before, shockingly enough, but that they did so in the month of August.
We are the weakest link.
That's correct.
Yes.
They did so in did so, I should say, during the most important tourism month of the entire year.
The French are still here.
That's true.
The French are still here.
Plenty of French Jews are here. Plenty of people from Europe are vacationing here. A lot of non-Jews are vacationing
Absolutely.
here. We've seen some really interesting eclectic groups singing Hebrew songs throughout Jerusalem.
Yes.
People who don't look like they grew up with Hebrew songs, frankly.
We should also note, by the way, that we have seen a definite increase in foot traffic But just normal, everyday people coming out of their homes and enjoying the outdoors and seeing families outside and enjoying the beach and doing this. And just the streets are more filled with people. Now, those are not tourists
Right.
from North America.
Right.
Those are Jerusalemites and Israelis just coming out of their homes and feeling a sense of calm and security and hopefully peace that allows them to walk out of their ma'amad and walk out of their homes and try and get back into real life.
We had a meeting yesterday on the legendary Rehov Hayarkon
Yes.
in Tel Aviv. And what everybody was happiest about is that finally people in the hundreds and thousands started flocking back to the beaches because
Yep.
regular tourists in Israel were avoiding coming outside and being part of anything as all this was going on. And we pointed out, we were here 2 weeks ago, and we pointed out that even in the few hours we were here and just talking to friends and relatives during those few hours when we arrived with the Nefesh B'Nefesh flight, it is such a different atmosphere now.
Absolutely.
It is it's so much calmer, a lot less tension. People we know, thank God, are seeing most of their loved ones, thank God, come back from Gaza at this point.
I got an email yesterday from somebody who was asking me a business question and wrote something to the effect of, "I hope you're enjoying your trip despite the situation." And I wrote back to him and I said, "I appreciate your good wishes, but I have to tell you, this is probably one of the best trips I've ever taken, and certainly up there in terms of our business trips to Israel. This has been an absolutely incredible experience. And while some may have been critical of you and your stance, I can only reiterate that this is the time to come. And frankly, if you were on the fence about coming for Sukkot, you should do it.
Oh, Sukkot.
You should do it.
There are people begging people to plan trips now for the end of August. And also we should point out that this trip was planned a couple of months ago because of the whole Nefesh B'Nefesh thing, and we had other things planned that didn't exactly work out.
Materialize.
But well, they did materialize until the last minute. Things had to be bounced around because of the situation. But many people thought, oh, now that the situation's the way it is, I guess you're going to be avoiding your trip to Israel. And of course,
Yep.
it was the exact opposite. We said we're going to make sure to be here no matter what. All
Absolutely.
right, coming up in 5 minutes, right after the next selection, on Friday, we're in Stay Road, and we met a lot of incredible people. And one of the experiences we've had together is meeting all these American soldiers.
Yes.
31-year-old from Brooklyn, New York, who had the most amazing analysis of joining the Israeli army.
Correct.
27-year-old Gabi Choma from
That name's going to stick with us, by the
from
way.
Kushner Yeshiva High School.
Correct. And
in
Moshava.
in Livingston, New Jersey, and Camp Moshava. Props to
Props.
Camp Moshava. They're always at the top of the list.
Unreal.
Larry Waxman sitting here. he and I are telepathically acknowledging that as great as all of our summer camps have been, when it comes to Israel, Moshava might be number one.
Well, they were incredible at the
Oh,
rally,
they
remember?
were unbelievable at the rally. I knew that I knew that their presence would be felt, and as the other camps attended, and believe me, our camps, we were very high in the way they treated that day and the way the kids participated. But of course, Moshava found a way to make it into an entire Rikud and big Israel celebration.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one of the people we met on Friday was a student, the only American student in the yeshiva in Stay Road. Stay Road has over 500 students in their yeshiva. There's one American. He is the American program.
Right.
He is from Passaic, New Jersey. 5 minutes from now, after this election, we're going to play that interview. What happened was, because of a technical glitch, it didn't get into Friday's show. We'll meet him virtually through the airwaves coming up in just a few minutes right here at JM and the AM. Also, Dr. Rich Roberts is in our makeshift studio. He's arrived from New Jersey for one reason. And I guarantee you it's for one reason, because I see that he's on crutches, which means he probably could have used the time to recover from whatever he's suffering from. Instead, he said, I'm getting on a plane and coming to Israel to express solidarity and do what we've just demanded that everybody do, is plan a trip and get here as soon as possible. So he'll join us toward the end of this hour coming up as well at JMN. I mentioned Larry. He's going to join us because he's celebrating 30 years in Israel, August 1984. We said goodbye to him and Marsha after Shavar Brachos, and we said enjoy Israel. And here he is 30 years later. Our friends from the Inbal Hotel are going to be joining us, of course. They are our hosts here today and throughout our entire visit. So our friends from the Inbal Hotel, led this time by Alex Herman and Joanne Odes. They've been amazing for us in terms of setting up today's show. They're going to be joining us coming up. And the rumor is that Rabbi Steve Berg is going to bring a candidate for Congress
Correct.
to our studio here this morning at the Inbal Hotel on the 9th floor Executive Lounge. So we'll hopefully meet both of them coming up as well. And who knows what other surprises will be happening. Don't forget, tomorrow morning we're in the airport in the old terminal when Nefesh B'Nefesh lands with over 330 Olim in the big August journey to the Holy Land. That's happening. Tomorrow morning. Flight lands about 7 a.m. Israel time. We'll pre-record our JM show from the airport. We'll have an opportunity to meet some of the heroes of Israel tomorrow on this radio program. Also want to say good morning to Rabbi Nate Siegel, who is here. He joined us Friday with some amazing commentary on the beautiful Achdasa Sefer Torah. It was a great schus to have him with us. And don't worry, Staten Island, he'll be back soon. But we get to be the beneficiaries of his leadership during this trip. And my nephew, Shlomo Siegel, is here. We had the most enjoyable Shabbos together. And he is here, one of the many students who come to spend more than a year. He's been here more than a year already, studying Torah in Jerusalem. And I'm glad he was able to be here this morning as we broadcast at JM in the AM. This is the song that Lenny Solomon wrote last week to commemorate the hope of Am Yisrael Lanetzach in light of the war in Gaza. Lenny, for us on a Tu B'Av morning at JM in the AM.
זמנים קשים, העם ביחד, כולם מוכנים, העם מאוחד, צהל מגן, העם מעודד, מגובשים, העם תומך, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, כולם עוזרים, העם מתנדב, משתוקקים, רוצים שלווה, ממשיכים, עם של צדק, כולם ביחד, עם ישראל חי, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח, נצח ישראל לא ישקר, עם ישראל לנצח.
JM in the AM. Good morning, New York. Good morning, New Jersey. Good morning, world. We're in the Inbal Hotel in beautiful Jerusalem. They've been our hosts here for this incredible trip. We're calling it a solidarity mission, although, frankly, we had planned this trip long ago, and our desire to get here just got stronger as things got a little tense here in the Holy Land. Things are certainly calmer this week compared to a couple of weeks ago, and we pray for the safety and security of the entire land and for the amazing IDF and IAF to do what is necessary to curtail the enemy's activities. The ceasefire, at least while we're recording the show, is still in effect, and hopefully it'll stay in effect for a lot longer than just these 72 hours, while at the same time the IDF will be able to do what is necessary. I mentioned that on Friday in Sderot, this was, I believe, the only interview that did not get onto the air because of a technical glitch that we had, but this was a conversation that we had with the entire Sderot Yeshiva American program. One young man out of 500 named Moshe Schwartz, who is studying in Sderot. He's from Passaic, New Jersey. We asked him why he's in Sderot, what his impressions are, etc., etc. Here is what that conversation sounded like this past Friday when we were in Sderot. You're listening to JM in the AM. Moshe Schwartz is here, anything but a typical Passaic, New Jersey youngster. Moshe Schwartz, welcome to JM in the AM.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You ever hear of this show before?
Yeah,
They listen in Sderot, huh? So give me the lowdown. You go to elementary school in New Jersey, I assume.
Yeah,
And then?
and then I started off in YZY, small yeshiva in Monsey. I went there for 2 years, and then I switched into MTA. I finished off high school. I then went on to Yeshivat Yisodei Torah, learned there my Shana Aleph, and then a little bit into my Shana Bet, I switched into Sderot.
Right, and how did you even find out about Sderot? Had you visited here during Shana Aleph?
Well, I went for one Shabbos, to check out, just like, Sderot sounds like a cool place to visit. And when I got here, I saw the yeshiva, and I was very impressed. The very serious people here. I feel the yeshiva almost, it's like a prototype for yeshivas in Israel to a certain extent, the way that it interacts with the community. We're not just a yeshiva that is located in Sderot, we are the yeshiva of Sderot. And I thought that was something very special, something I want to be a part of.
There are no other American students, American meaning American students whose parents are still in the United States, in Sderot at this time, correct?
They are not,
You're
no.
the only one.
Yeah.
Does that make it, difficult for you? It's not a big deal? How would you describe it?
I mean, in the beginning it was pretty rough. I mean, when I got there, people were like, Mashumcha, Echormata, how are you, what's your name? And I had no idea what was flying. I didn't know any Hebrew. But, you battle through it, you work through it, and then, it's very gratifying now to be where I am, that I, more or less, I understand what's going on.
Are people in New Jersey concerned for your safety?
Well, yeah, people in New Jersey, they hear of Sderot and they think, oh, so you're learning in Gaza. That's what's going on, But, no, I mean, the yeshiva, obviously you have to be very careful. When you hear a Sevadom, you go to a shelter. And in addition to that, we have, the Star Wars grade weaponry in the Iron Dome. And, we have a great army we also learn here. We feel that, that helps the situation. And, Baruch Hashem, in the last round of fighting, I don't think there are any fatalities in Sderot.
How many soldiers have passed through here over the last month?
Oh, it's been great. There have been a lot. I mean, it started off with maybe around 100 that came in, and then just more came. I think the Friday morning, just a few weeks ago, it was like 400 or 500 soldiers just came in, and it was great. We had Shabbos with them, and it was really probably the best Shabbos I've ever had in my life. It was a very amazing experience.
Moshe Schwartz is here from Passaic, New Jersey, now in Sderot. Did the yeshiva students have a role in helping the soldiers? Were there stuff that you were doing as a volunteer or in any way helping them?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we were sharing dorms with them. They were very, I think, grateful for the fact that, how, warm and welcome we are. I mean, one soldier mentioned that there's a certain feeling you get when you go home and you see your family and you see your parents, and he said he felt that when he came to our yeshiva. This is a Chiloni soldier. And, it's very special to feel that you're in a position where you're able to actually, make a difference to an extent. These are people who have been in Gaza and were returning for Shabbos, or people who are on their way out to Gaza. I mean, you just feel, life is more real in Sderot.
Is this the beginning of an American program in the yeshiva in Sderot? Are you going to be the first of what will be hundreds of students whose parents and families are back in the United States, but they're coming to study here?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we were actually trying to start an American program. It's sort of hard to pull Americans to Sderot by virtue of, its reputation of being, kind of in Gaza, as people would consider it from America. But it's really an amazing place. And, the people here are really excited to meet Americans, to see Americans in the yeshiva. They've been extraordinarily welcoming to me. If there's anyone out there who's interested in learning Sderot, it's a great opportunity.
Are you going to remain here through the rest of the summer and then, for even more than that?
Yeah, I plan on drafting in Hashem with the yeshiva this coming March draft. So I'll be in the yeshiva till March, and then I'll be drafting into the army.
Right, with boys your age.
Yeah, with the guys in my shir.
Wow, unbelievable. Well, kol hakavod to you. A pleasure meeting you. What message should we give back to the people in New Jersey?
I mean, it's it wasn't easy for me, coming into Sderot, but there are easier paths to coming here. I mean, people talk about, is it chiyuv to make aliyah, is it reshus to make aliyah? At the end of the day, I mean, our entire story of our history, we've been getting to Israel and getting kicked out of Israel. I mean, at this point, it's time to get back.
Kol hakavod. Thank you so much. Amazing. Moshe Schwartz, one of the prides of the Garden State from Passaic, New Jersey. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Kol hakavod. And enjoy your Shabbos Nachamu in Sderot. That was from Friday. That was the conversation with Moshe Schwartz. who really was and is an incredible young man. Miriam Wallach, I have news for you. Tonight starts the. Is it tonight or last night started the festival in Yerushalayim? Is it? No, tonight, the 11th of August, right? The what do they call it? The Chutzat HaYotzer is tonight.
Do I have a mic? Is this on?
So I found out who's performing tonight.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, really? Who?
It's an incredible lineup. They have another musical performer every single night. Shlomi Shabbat, who did the concert with Yaakov Shweki
Okay.
in the Nokia Center, he's tonight.
That's cool.
So last night for you in Jerusalem, here's your chance.
I'm going. Left side.
So Shlomi Shabbat, you'll have an opportunity. Larry Waxman is here. He was listening attentively to Moshe Schwartz's words because he's constantly amazed by the youth of the United States who decide to come to Israel and is always fascinated by their backgrounds. Larry Waxman, Mazal Tov on 30 years living in Israel from all of us at JM and the AM.
Thank you. Time flies when you're having fun.
Has it been fun for 30 years? Been
Yes.
some rough times here in the Holy Land.
I've gone through a lot of rough times. I have to tell you that this may be one of the most difficult. A lot of things here are personal. We take everything personally. Unfortunately, in the United States, when a soldier is killed, you hear a soldier was killed. Here, we could tell you everything about them. We could tell you their names. We could tell you their bios. Some of them are real heroes in the true, I should say, American sense, but what we recognize in America
Patriotic
as
sense.
heroes.
No
Skiborim.
And a lot of these Giborim have fallen during this war. 64, I think, is the total number of IDF soldiers.
64 soldiers, 3 civilians.
But you pointed out to me many times over the last few days, imagine, and it is a sacrifice, obviously, but imagine how many rockets have fallen and how low the civilian casualty is. Because if you look at the laws of percentages, God forbid how many people could have been lost.
About 3,400 rockets, give or take.
Which is unbelievable. And you know what kind of damage that could have
If I can just
Pause.
elaborate, I don't know if you want to call miracles, coincidences, what you want to, how you want to describe it, but there are so many things that have happened, some of which are by first-hand people recollections, some of them we see directly. All of them you could say they're coincidences, but when you put them all together, you have to say that there's a divine hand helping us. And of course, it's Yisrael B'tach B'Shem. There's no question in my mind that we have divine assistance on our side.
a real Iron Dome.
A real Iron Dome. Well, the fact you have to go back a step. The fact that the Iron Dome was developed in time for this, and secondly, the fact that it worked. It was tested, but that didn't mean it was going to work like it works.
Has worked to the point where people just rely on it. Oh, if a rocket goes
Yeah,
off,
well,
we know
that's-
where people go to the roof to take pictures of
Yeah,
it.
but they don't understand that when a rocket is destroyed, there's shrapnel.
Right. So
And
you
there
have
wa-
to be careful.
My niece went to a pool where she goes to swim, and there was shrapnel in the pool from
Right.
an earlier attack.
So we can't minimize the danger, certainly, but what it does in terms of protecting people here is unbelievable. All right, so take me back to the summer of 1984. How far before that did you decide to make Aliyah?
Officially or before? I always knew I was going to make Aliyah. My question had only been in my mind, do you want to go retired or productive? And I decided to go productive. And about a year or two before that, I had decided I'm going to make Aliyah. I had originally planned September 84, but some other things changed it to October. But
Oh, I thought you literally left at the end of August. That's funny.
no, I left on October 10th. But, well, I couldn't have left at the end. I got married at the end of
Right,
August.
I thought you left at the show.
No, I left a month later. But the idea was to come, and I gave notice to everybody. And it's interesting. I had a very important position, a new position at Yeshiva University, and I was teaching all those years. And I didn't. Not only didn't I get even in Morasha, I didn't get opposition. I got things which were equivalent to the Kol HaKavod. Good for you.
Encouragement.
Good for you. And one of the people who really encouraged me, even when I got here, was Chaim Bravender. He
Wow.
always did.
And the things have worked out nicely since then.
Baruch Hashem. I can tell you something. I've never looked back. Never said to myself, why did I come here? Or we made a mistake or something. The thought never even crossed my mind.
Do you know that before Nefesh B'Nefesh existed, you were Nefesh B'Nefesh for a lot of people?
I know.
They would turn to you for advice. First of all, you were always very practical. You were always very organized, so you knew, to tell people how to be Mesudar in this entire process, a process that's very difficult to stay Mesudar in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they would ask you for, each step of the way. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? You even
Or what should I do?
Yeah, you even were smart enough in certain cases, to hold back certain information, not to discourage people or to allude to the fact that something might go wrong.
You're right. That it has to be that way. You can beat. I don't want to say beat the system because you can't beat the system, but you can learn how to work the system and work within the system, and you learn the things that it doesn't tell you to be prepared for. I'll give you an example. You learn when you go into an office, some pakid, you always have with you pictures. You always have with you all the information that you think that they won't ask for.
Because they're going to ask.
Because they're going to ask you. You have to go back and come and get online again.
And it takes a long time each time you get on that line.
That's right. You don't want to do it more than once.
Oh, those very good tips from you. Then Nefesh B'Nefesh comes around, and
Nefesh
your job gets easier.
Nefesh B'Nefesh was a bracha, because before Nefesh B'Nefesh, you basically dealt with the Jewish agency and the shlichim. My shliach, I think, opened a pizza store in New Jersey. It was not. They weren't as helpful as they could have been, and not only that, they never had the ideas that Nefesh B'Nefesh did, such as having people from Misrat Panim on the plane,
right,
and doing things and easing things instead of putting up every obstacle you can imagine. It was just the opposite. So people came through Nefesh B'Nefesh, half the problem was solved. Coming off the airplane with your papers and your Tudat Zehut or your Tudat Oleh or even information on Kupat Cholim, these are big steps. These are important steps. You take it lightly and you make a mistake, you can't undo the mistake easily.
At what point in the last 30 years did you finally say to yourself, I'm an Israeli. I'm
an American Israeli.
All right, but I'm a real resident here. Like, at what point?
I was right away.
There was no episode or
No.
a point where you started thinking in Hebrew or anything like that?
I still don't think in Hebrew.
You still think in English?
Most people think in their native language. Actually, the trick is you ask them to count. Well, what language do they do their calculations?
Right.
That's their native language. Truth is, I always felt that way. I knew what I was getting into. I knew the country very well. I had been coming here, you remember that, every year. In fact, I had even spent a sabbatical year here. So I really knew what I was getting into. And I always felt, as soon as I came, now I'm officially an Israeli. That doesn't mean I'm not an American citizen. I pay taxes just like everybody else. But you felt right away that I belong here. This is my place.
What do you say to people who are considering moving to Israel? A lot of North Americans listening to this program right now.
Well, the French are moving because they have to.
Right.
Only the smart ones are. I have to say that it's not for everybody. It sounds funny. It has to be right for you. I also say there are windows. When someone says, "Oh, I'm not coming this year," that doesn't mean you can come next year, because there are windows. There are your children. There's education. There's a lot of things that take place. So God opens up certain windows, or whatever you want to say. If God opens it up, or it just happens naturally, there are certain windows in your life. Miss it, you got to wait till the window opens again. So you have to make sure it's for you. Don't expect everything to be ready for you or everything to be good for you. But I always had a few pieces of advice. Number one, getting a job. The chances of you getting a job while you're still in America are slim. And if you get it, you don't know you're going to come and you're going to hear the words, "Ani ma'od mitztaer." I'm terribly sorry. What we told you, we're not going to do. Often because they don't know if you're really going to come. Because people got messed up enough that they said they were coming. They made all the organization here or the company here made all the plans. And they said, "Oh, we decided we're coming next year." So, first of all, to be here. Second of all, to be very flexible. You can't say, because I did this particular thing in America and I have to have this particular type of job, you won't get it. What my advice always has been, find something that you personally excel in. Because if you go up against an Israeli who has the same qualifications as you do, you won't get the job because he has a cousin you don't have.
And knows the language better than you do.
That even when that's not the problem.
Right.
But there are enough things here which really almost everybody has special talents, and those talents, and you'll see that most successful people are that way. They found a niche that they could fit in and do better than everybody else, and they're very happy here.
Finally, I have to acknowledge that without you, I wouldn't be where I am now. You're one of the key people in getting me this gig, so to speak. You mentioned the new job at Yeshiva University 30 years ago. That was a key for me in terms of getting to WFMU originally. So I thank you all these years later.
I have to answer. It's one thing. I was talking before about things that are coincidental.
Right.
This was another example of the coincidences. If I can tell this, just part of the story. I know you've told it before. Nachum had come into me in my office, my new office as Director of Student Activities. And one of the things he had told me was that he had wanted this job, and they gave it to somebody else without any kind of reason or anything. Probably again somebody's cousin.
Right.
And he was disappointed. That passed. And a few months later, I got a phone call from Norman Laster, who started to introduce himself. I said, "You don't have to introduce yourself. I know who you are." He's looking for somebody to lead this, to take over the show. I said, "But you got a new guy." He says, "He's history." So I said, "I have the perfect person. He's the director of WYUR, the Yeshiva University's radio station. I know him very well. He's reliable. He's everything like that." And that's how the shidduch was made. Well, there were little rough spots in the beginning, as you recall, but
the
thank
next
God.
morning, next morning I was on the air.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Mazal tov, Larry,
Thank you.
to you and Marsha Waxman. It's been an amazing 30 years in Aretz.
It certainly has.
It happened back in October of 1983, and I thank you for being here today.
84.
1984, excuse me. How can I say 30 years? And I thank you for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
Tadar Rabah. Here we are at the
And
Inbal.
thank you for coming.
I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Inbal Hotel, everybody. 9th floor, Executive Lounge, Mir Pesed on the patio, overlooking the old city. Rabbi David Goldwasser's words, Zechon Nishmas Rav Zeb ben Yosef Halevi. Here is Rabbi David Goldwasser with Morning Chizuk. Oh, just a moment. That was my technical mistake. There we go. We need this in here, don't we? Rabbi David Goldwasser's words here on a Monday morning, Tu B'Av at JM in the AM. Here he is with Morning Chizuk.
Good morning. It says in Shmos, "V'lakachti eschem li la'am." Usually, in order for a people to become a nation, they have to dwell in the same land where they were born and raised. If they become uprooted from their land and have to move elsewhere, they can't always maintain their own nationality. Bnei Yisrael, however, became a nation before they reached Eretz Yisrael. We have always been a nation, no matter which land we have gone to. The Yalkut Chodesh explains that the same language is employed with reference to Eretz Yisrael, the Holy Land, as the expression that is used for the Torah. Torah tzivolonu Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu commanded us the Torah. Moirosha, it is an inheritance, Kehilas Yaakov, for the Kehila of Yaakov. Because the inheritance of Eretz Yisrael is not something that a person has an everlasting schus to, we have this privilege if we live a life according to Torah. Our claim to Eretz Yisrael depends on Klal Yisrael guarding our nationality through Shmiras HaMitzvos in Torah learning. The Michtav Eliyahu says, the fact that we have a yishuv in Eretz Yisrael today is a nes. It's a miracle. It is among the great chasodim that Hashem has bestowed upon His nation. We are able to come from one extreme, the point of Chorban Europa, the Holocaust, to the other extreme, and reestablish the yeshivas and the great centers of Yiddishkeit in Eretz Yisrael. We have to remember, though, there is an Eretz Yisrael de Lamata and an Eretz Yisrael Shalmaila, one that is below and one that is above. They both must exist simultaneously. We say in davening, Dover Tziva le'elef dor. It has been thousands of years since we have gone into Golus, into the exile. How does the Ava, the great love, remain in our heart? The Michtav Eliyahu explains, it's because of the holiness of Eretz Yisrael. That Kedusha continues to draw us near, no matter how long the bitter Golus is. This is the Yerusha, the inheritance that we have from Avraham Avinu. He was Moser Nefesh. He self-sacrificed for the Nisayon, the challenge of Lech Lecha. The Talmidim of the Belzer Rebbe, Reb Shalom of Belz, had drawn water for the Mayim Shalonu, the special water which is used to bake matzahs. When they finished their task, they were leaving the water overnight to use the next day. They wished the Rebbe, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, next year in Yerushalayim. The Rebbe asked, why next year? We can take this water that we drew today and we can bake matzahs in Yerushalayim and eat them in the presence of Mashiach tomorrow. This has been Rabbi David Goldwasser, bringing you Morning Chizuk. Have a nice day.
JM and the AM, always special, and Rabbi Goldwasser addresses our, and mentions Jerusalem and speaks about Jerusalem, especially when we're here in Jerusalem. It is a Monday broadcast on this Tu B'Av at JM and the AM, and we're at the Inbal Hotel overlooking the holy city. Shimmy Stein is here, everybody. Yes, Shimmy Stein has stopped by to say hello.